Coding 101 The Kids Way is an educational program which teaches kids ages 7 to 12 years all about coding and how coding impacts their world. The aim of the program is to inspire kids to learn how to code through practical experiences and insights to career opportunities. This outline was developed by Smart Kids Educational Club on behalf of Tambourine Learning for the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica.
Are you ready? Let's go! Wow! All right! What's up, mini coders? Welcome to another episode of Coding 101, The Kids Way. I'm Cece the Robot. If you're new here, I simplify coding so we can all understand. Last week, we talked about what is coding, so go check that video out on YouTube at PBCJamaica. This week, it gets a bit exciting because we learn what is game development. It is said that game development is the art of creating game design, the development and release of a game. It may involve concept generation, designing, building, testing, and releasing. While you create a game, it's important to think about the game mechanics, rewards, player engagement, and level design. So, what they're saying is if we should put 2 and 2 together from what we learned last week, the game developers are also programmers. Game development can be done by a large game development studio or by a single individual. The game design can be as small or as large as you like, as long as the player interacts with content and is able to manipulate the game's elements. You can call it a game. I must say that game development is important to learn because it reinforces problem-solving skills as well as builds teamwork skills, time management, patience, effective communication, storytelling, and lastly, definitely not least, creativity. Game development benefits us in so many ways. We as kids love video games anyway. It's an easy and quick way to teach programming languages to kids. There are many applications like Microsoft Make Code that offer game development for kids. It helps kids to get guidance. So their learning process becomes smooth and fun. But we'll get into that later in the show. Let's get into some real great games that we can play that will perhaps inspire your creative journey. Okay, so some of you may recognize some old games, and some of you will discover some solid new games that are dominating the game industry. Let's kick it off with Minecraft. Kids can choose to either modify elements of the existing world or build an adventure of their own. Cake Mania is a game series that focuses on creating cakes. It puts our time management and creative skills to the test, having us baking cakes, serving them to customers, and more, all while being on the clock. Just like Minecraft, Roblox is another wildly popular game with a dedicated community that continues to grow. Roblox doesn't have any step-by-step instructions, lessons, or guides to coding, but once the game is created and tested, the user can publish it to the Roblox platform for other players to see and play. Let me tell you, the outline of a game is what your story or aim will be. If it is a story-centric game, this is essential. However, if you are creating a puzzle game, you can use outline as a tool for what features you want to include in the game. Outlines give you what ideas are banging around in your brain. Outlines are crucial to the next step, which is storyboarding. Storyboards are fleshing out your story or aim to create your game. In summary, the concept and frame of video games are simple once broken down into steps. Although this isn't unique to just children's games, I believe these principles of game design will undoubtedly help you in your mission to create games. Remember, it is easy for us to stay engaged and learn the concepts in coding all while playing interactive games. We learn concepts of coding by applying them in a game format. We can learn aspects of web and app development, game design, improve critical thinking, and more. And on that note, we'll be back with a game developer. Coders, welcome back. If you're just joining us, I'm Cece the Robot. Before the break, we discussed a whole lot about game development. My excitement has me glitching because I'll be interviewing a game developer in this episode. Hi, Clint Henry. What's up?
Hi, Cece. How are you doing?
My mini coders and I have a few questions we want to ask you about game development.
Oh, really?
What is the basic structure for developing a game?
Okay, so games have a lot of parts, but they can be broken down into 3 sections. We have the art. Those are all the pretty pictures and the characters that move. Then you have the music and the audio. Those are all the fancy beeps and boops. And then you have the code, and that's what tells the music when to play and the art what to do.
What are some of the problems you might face while developing a game with Java?
So when you're developing a game, you can run into bugs. Not the bugs that you see outside, but problems in your code. Sometimes you may make a mistake and that may make the game behave weirdly and wonky.
How can we monetize or earn money from developing a game?
Game developers make money a lot of ways, right? So first off is buying the game for full price. That's for your Xbox, your Nintendo Switch. That's what we call premium pricing. Then there are also free games. Those are games that you can play for free. You can download them on your phone. And they make money via ads. Or you buy small things in the game as well.
What is pixel art?
Okay. Now, Cece, do you remember when I mentioned art earlier? So pixel art is a style of art unique to video games where they try and use very small squares to make very pretty pictures.
What do game developers mean by lag? And how do they avoid or reduce lag?
All right. So lag can happen for multiple reasons, but mainly it is when something moves too slowly, right? How we can reduce that is we make sure that our code is very, very efficient and try to reduce how many bugs and how many times we're doing something, asking the computer to do something.
What is cloud gaming?
So cloud gaming is a shiny new idea where the game that you play, rather than giving you a CD or a cartridge, it exists on the internet, in the cloud, and you can access it and play via the internet completely.
What's a game loop?
All right, so a game loop is where it's in the code. Remember we mentioned that earlier, right? It's where we are telling the game to wait for certain instructions and do a certain action. So when you press the button, it will do a thing. That's what the game loop is.
What are the gaming engines you can use to develop games?
So many, I can't name them all, but the big popular ones are Unity, Unreal Engine, and there's another one that's just very fun to use called Godot, but it's spelled Godot. Funny word.
Wow, I'm going into another system overdrive. But thanks, Glenn, for joining us. We'll be back. I need to reboot for a short minute. All right. Welcome back, mini coders. I'm better now. And for those who missed my name, I'm Cece the Robot. Earlier, I spoke about Microsoft MakeCode, and we're here at the fun part. I'm going to show you how to build out a game with this software, and you can follow along. Let's go!
Hello and welcome to MakeCode Arcade. Today we're going to learn how to start a new project. To do that, we go to arcade.makecode.com and you'll see our home screen and you'll see this big old button here that says New Project. Click that button and give your project a name. Arcade will open up into a screen that looks a lot like this. Let me give you a tour, shall we? Over here, you'll have your simulator. Sometimes, if you're on a tablet or mobile device, your simulator will end up down here, but you can pop it open and you'll have all the same functionality. You've got your screen where your code will show up. You've got your joypad that will let you move characters around. You've got your A button, your B button, your reset, and a menu. Down here, you have a stop so that you can keep your game from loading if you've done something really long or really noisy. You have a restart, a debug feature, a toggle sound, the key code for all your keyboard needs, a way to take a snapshot of your project, and a way to blow your project to full screen. In the middle, we have our toolbox. Our toolbox has a lot of blocks in it. Sometimes it's really hard to find the blocks you need. For that, just start typing in the search box, and it will give you a selection of blocks that meet your needs. When you find a block you want to use, drag it into your workspace. This is your workspace over here where you will write your code. In general, your code will have these container blocks, which are events, and that tells your code when to run. This one runs my code on start, or whenever this reloads. We've put a block inside that sets a sprite, and a sprite is just a 2D character that can change and move around and do all sorts of things in your game. To add a sprite, we're going to click in this box right here, and now we're put in our image editor. We could draw a sprite of our own, or if we want something else, we're just not feeling it today, you can click on the gallery, and there's all these sprites to pick from. I'm going to choose a puppy, but I don't want my puppy facing that direction. I want it facing this direction. So I'm going to click one of the flip and rotate buttons and get it facing the way I want. I'm going to give my puppy a name, Clever, and click done. There we go. Now watch your simulator and your puppy appears. This simulator is very important because it lets you make sure that your code is doing what you want it to. Sometimes you get a lot of code on your screen, or sometimes it might be hard to read the code that you have there. You can use your zoom in and zoom out buttons to set your workspace to the level where you like to see it. You also have undo and redo buttons in case you make mistakes. Up at the top are 3 options. You can code in blocks, or you can code in text. For text, you have the option of JavaScript or Python. And over here, you have an Assets tab. That keeps track of the assets you're using in your projects. From here, you can select your assets and edit them, duplicate them, or copy them to your clipboard. You could make a new asset by clicking the green button and choosing the kind of asset you want to create. At the bottom here, you'll see you have a title based on the name you gave your project in the beginning. You can save your project to your computer as a PNG file that looks like an image that you can find on your hard drive. But when you grab it and drag it into Arcade, it will load all the code that you had when you clicked save. Or you can click this button and upload it to a GitHub repository if you have one. Finally, over here, you can click this button to download your project to whatever kind of arcade hardware you might have at home. But don't worry, you don't need hardware in order to enjoy Arcade. You can play it right from your simulator on your computer or your mobile phone. And that is all you need to know to get ready to make your first project in Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. Till next time, happy coding.
Good job, mini coders, and thanks for joining me. Remember, I'm Cece the Robot, who helps kids to code. See you next time.